Maayong hapon. You already have a quorum. Mr. Secretary, majority floor. The 77th regular session sa Guniang Panglusod, Dakbayan sa Cagayan de Oro is now called on to order. Please do stand. An invocation by Councilor from District 2. Highly controversial Councilor Enrico Salcedo at this moment. Can you please secure the perimeter?
Atong ibutang ang atong tagsatagsaka mga kagalingon diya sa presensya sa atong Ginoo. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Heavenly Father, aniya kami karon adlaw para pagpasalamat sa adlaw-adlaw nga grasya nga imong gibubo diri kanamo sa everyday life nga imong gihatag. Especially sa protection sa matag adlaw namo nga panginabuhi, we ask for forgiveness sa tanang kalapasan nga amo ang nahimo diha sa among isikaingon nga supak sa imong kabubuton ug sa kanunay. Manginaot mi Ginoo nga magauban ka kanamo sa matag adlaw namo nga panikay-sikay. O Lord, we come to you to asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this weekly session. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion. Allow us to grow closer as a group and nurture the bonds of community. Nga usab, pag-ablihan mo ang among mga kasing-kasing o kasinatian nga magpaibabaw nga respeto sa matag usa kanamo. Despite sa among mga difference, nga usab kami pagatagaan nimo og dugang pasensya sa amo ang mga hisgutanan ining hapuna. Fill us with your grace nga kami magkahiusa alang sa kayuan namong tanan. Kini among gipangayo pinaagi sa imong bugtong anak nga mao si Jesucristo uban sa panabang ni Mama Mary ang inahan sa Dios. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Councilor Enrico Salcedo. And for the singing of our national anthem. And for the Cagayan de Oro March. hapon sa tanan. Mr. Secretary, mayong hapon kanimo. And so as all who are present this afternoon session, mayong hapon kaninyong tanan. And so as our media friends, coming from different media company, mayong hapon kanyo from Bumbo Radio, mayong hapon kaninyo. And other media or radio company who are present this afternoon, mayong hapon. And welcome to the 77th regular session. Oh, Mr. Secretary, can you do the roll call and determine if we do have a quorum? Please.
Honorable Renier Joaquin VOy, City Vice Mayor and Presiding Officer.
Mayong hapon.
For the first district councilors, Honorable Edna M. Dahino, Honorable Jay R. Pascual, Honorable Roger G. Abaday, Honorable Saldi O. Ocon, Honorable George is Goking, Honorable Ruben R. Daba, Honorable Lordan G. Swan, Honorable Romeo V. Calizo. For the second district councilors, Honorable Jolene Mercedes El Balaba, Honorable Maria Lourdes Isgaani, Honorable Ayan Mark Yunakaya, Honorable Suset G. Magtahas Daba, Honorable Chudolfo E. Lau Jr., Honorable Enrico D. Salcedo, Honorable Jocelyn B. Rodriguez, Honorable Edgar S. Cabanlas. For the ex-officio members, Honorable Yan Lam Islim, Liga ng mga Barangay President, and Honorable John Michael El Seno, City SK Federation President. There is quorum, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Secretary. We have a quorum. It's a green light for us to conduct an official business this afternoon. So, Majority Floor Leader, Ayan Mark Kiblat Nakaya, mayong hapon kanimo Majority Floor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Presiding Officer, Vice Mayor Renier Joaquin Velez Kikang Uy in his yellow shirt. Very attractive.
And so as Councilor Joylyn Mercedes Balaba is in pink.
Yes.
And
What's the
Councilor
color?
Suset Magdahas Daba.
You're asked to stand, Councilor Suset, and deliver your education summit address. Of course, we should not leave Councilor Edna Dahino and Councilor Maria Lourdes Gani, Councilor Joylene Bebot Rodriguez as our ladies in the council, Mr. Chairman.
But this afternoon, Majority Floor, one public servant, lady councilor, will stand out for them since it is her birth month.
Yes, yes.
So
yes.
happy birthday, Councilor.
It is not forgotten, Mr. Chairman.
Happy birthday kayo.
We should also include Councilor J. Pascual, since his committee is very involved in the functions at the height of ASF and all. And to the circle that he belongs also, Mr. Chairman.
Well recognized and noted upon
Agriculture I mean sector, not circle. And to our media friends and fellow Cagayanons, mayong hapon. I move, Mr. Chairman, to dispense with the reading of the minutes of meeting of February 15, 2021, and to consider the furnishing of its copy to every member as the reading itself.
properly moved by the Majority Floor Leader. Any second? Second, correction, is there any? Correction. There is none. Hearing none. It is hereby approved.
I likewise move for approval of the said minutes of
For
meeting.
its finality and seconded.
We have the first report that, as I have said earlier, Mr. Chairman, the committee in charge of agriculture, who is very busy in the aspect of the concerns of ASF. He will be reporting on that aspect. And this representation, Councilor Nakaya would like to report on the letter request, the two concerns of the public market stallholders. Third is Councilor Enrico Salcedo, who would like to render a report on his concern about traffic and its management, Mr. Chairman. And Councilor Maria Lourdes Gani, our muse of the council, would like to render an update to the City Council as regards the COVID vaccination of for Cagayanons, Mr. Chairman, and he will be using a PowerPoint presentation for visual, and she will be assisted by Dr. Yu, Mr. Chairman. On the fifth, depende lang kung bakante pa ang oras, Councilor Roger Abaday, Mr. Chairman. So, Councilors Pascual, Nakaya, Salcedo, Gaani.
Okay. Councilor Pascual, our first reporter this afternoon. May hapon kanimo.
Hapon, Mr. Chair. Mayang hapon sa akong mga kauban and mayang hapon sa atong media friends and atong bisita sa likod. Mr. Chair, ASF, as we all know, it is now present in our city, especially on Barangays Mambuaya, San Simon, Baikingon, Macasandig, and Agusan. Just an update sa Mambuaya, there is 432 ang ato ang depopulate, and ang mga affected farmers is 125. Sa San Simon is 555 heads depopulated. Farmers affected is 135 farmers. Sa Baikingon, there is 137 depopulated pigs. Sa Macasandig, 76 pigs. Sa Agusan, 69. People are already panicking, selling their pigs to lechoneros. Ang uban, ginaihaw na lang nila and to sell sa ilang mga silingan for the scare. Nga basin, ang ilang barangay na pod ang sunod nga ma-ASF. So, pila ka months ago, nagproblema ta sa presyo sa baboy nga ni mahal. Karon, I think this is only temporary. Ni barato na ang presyo sa pork. Kay ang uban nahadlok naman pod og pangaon sa pork kay it is not safe man daw sa uban. So I don't know kung unsa gyud ang insakto ani, kung safe ba siya or dili siya safe. Pero karon ang ilang gi-post, it is not safe to eat infected hogs. So due to scare, ang uban tao kidala na nila ilang mga anay sa lain nga barangay. Ang uban nagkuan na nag-ilan nang gipang ihaw, so ang katong mga infected na mga pork maski asa na nila gi-dispose. So muna gyud to siya, Mr. Chair, that dapat i-limit nato ang pag-transport sa mga pigs to other barangays, especially karon nga naay ASF, especially pod sa katong barangays nga identified as ASF infected. Kaya if not, lisod na kaayo nga mag-spread na pod sa lain nga barangay, and lain ra ba ning ASF, Mr. Chair? Kay isa lang kabuk ma-infected, maski ang imong silingan nga dili infected ang ilang baboy, walay sakit, wala tanan, patyon gihapon. Basta makasulod sa 100-meter radius. So, infected or not, they will be depopulated. So, I suggest, since daghan na manggod kaayo ang transfer sa ilang mga baboy from one barangay to another, kay especially ang katong barangays nga nakuan na og ASF, ibalhin man nila sa lain barangay para dili madamay og kamatay ilang baboy. So muna nga ato pag yung gikuan nga naatay mga rules and regulations in transporting hogs. So muto akong i-suggest nila, Mr. Chairman, nga dapat naagyoy penalties if ever nga maglabag. Especially sa katong mga tindahan pod, naamantay mga tindahan di ay nga ilang na found out nga gapamaligya man lamaw nga ginapakaon gyapon sa baboy. So I thought na wala na gyapon na, pero naa pa gyud gyapon. So we have to set penalties for that also. Kay this is not only a national threat to our food security, but to our city as well. Kay nakasulod na gyud ang ASF. And we all know, basin siguro 90% siguro sa ato din sa Cagayan de Oro enjoys lechon, enjoys pork products. And what if mawala na ang pork products kay nahurot na gyud og kasakit tanan natong baboy? That is a really scary kuan. It is a threat to our food security. So dapat naagyoy ngipon ang ato ang ang atong penalties. Kay so far karon wala man ta naghatag og mga penalties sa ato ang mga baboy kung ilang ibalhin-balhin. So if they get caught, tagaan lang sila warning, wala gyapon. So we really need to set up penalties for that. And I think it should be included also if we make an ordinance, ang profiling on all backyard piggeries. Kanang naay nga mga pig raisers nga kuan, dapat naay profile sa barangay. Kay I'm pretty sure this will not be the first. I'm pretty sure on the next coming years, naan na po'y lain nga sakit sa baboy nga will threaten again our food security. So we really need to be prepared, just like our CDRR. Wala pa ang bagyo din na, pero naan na tayo gibutang nga CDR for that. So ang kanang mga biyaheros dapat mag-register na. Ang biyaheros is the one nga gakumpra og baboy nga gasakay motor. And all lechoneros should also be included. Tagaan silang seminars. Dapat tanan, and I wish Councilor Alam to be included also ang atong mga ABC president, atong mga barangay captains in all barangays should really work together with the city veterinary para makita gyud kay because we're dapat ang grassroots gyud ang barangay level ang mo identify sa katom naay mga baboy nga gabuhi para ma-profile na nato daan so that our information puhon-puhon dali ra kay ma-disseminate if ever another virus such as this ASF will come. So we can also create bantay ASF program sa kada barangay as prescribed by the Department of Agriculture. Since this is an urgent matter, Mr. Chair, I move its styling to approve.
Okay, thank you for your special report this afternoon, Councilor J. Pascual. So,
If I may add, Mr. Chair,
okay,
transfer is only allowed if there is a proper documentation given by the city veterinary. Kaya dili man pud pwede nga i-stop gyud nato totally ang movement sa pork products. But of course, they should secure proper documents from the city veterinary office. Daghang salamat.
okay. The thought of your special report is that your prayer could be that we will make an ordinance for penalizing this to contain the not just an ASF but all of these contagious disease from the livestock industry.
Yes.
No?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Sakit sa baboy, sakit sa ero, apil na. And so as
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Anong sa manok?
But of course, ang poultry products, Mr. Chair, is not really that kuan kay as we all know, poultry products can grow only 28 days. But if you consider ang pork products, it will take months for them to grow. So hadlo kayo if if ever manggani na inflation sa atong manok, they can always nga mag-grow sila 28 days lang.
Any time of the day there could be a threat for there's still an H1N1 flu for the avian flu for the flocks.
Yes,
No?
Mr. Chair.
So when it comes to profiling, it must be included, not just a subjective.
Yes,
It
Mr.
must
Chair.
be in general for all the livestock.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So you have to note it out as
Point
you
taken.
draft such ordinance that you are proposing. Okay, thank you, Councilor
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
J. Roa Pascual, for your special report. Okay, Councilor Edgar Cabandas, want to add something or just a quick reaction from him? Councilor, mayong hapon kanimo.
Mayang hapon na Vice Mayor, mayang hapon sa tanan. Pigs do not follow protocols. You cannot ask the pigs to wear face mask. And also facial, social distancing or whatever. So we have to have an ordinance that would give these protocols not to the pigs but to the owners of the pigs. Pumunta na, asa man ang inyong ordinansa? You should have prepared an ordinance that would outline what are the prohibited acts and the proposed penalties that should have been drafted. I have read there is a proposed ordinance here, but this is a proposed ordinance of the limitation of transportation of hogs or hogs meat from one province to another province, from Luzon to Mindanao, Mindanao to Luzon. But what about from one neighbor to another neighbor? What about from lechonero to another lechonero? What about from one supplier to another supplier? That should be specified, because we cannot just simply pass an ordinance that is general in terms and application. There is no specific acts that would be prohibited. So I would like to request that if it is urgent, then let us define this ordinance. And Mr. Chairman, it's a dangerous situation now. You cannot just simply brush this off and hide this under the table or under your bed. Everybody is affected. People in Cagayan de Oro, not only Cagayan de Oro, but in the entire Philippines, we're eating pork. We eat pork even in the morning. So this should be given attention. And naman tingali mga checkpoints, but I think as we have seen, these checkpoints are not effective. Wala, nilusot ng gihapon. Nilusot. So kung sa itong baton, naglibog ako rin karon. For example, doon na, magbuhatag balaod nga dili na to sila ipa-transfer from one. Saan ka na ito na pagbuhat? That is why we need the advices of the experts. And we have to strengthen our veterinarian office. Atong silang tagaan sa grabe nga gahom, and then ask them for a recommendation. Unsa ba? Kay delikado ni kay karon dito ka og pork. And if we cannot eat pork, then everything will rise, except unless we will stop eating na. Dili na ito makaon. But when we continue to eat, then everything will, the prices of itlog, manok, baka, masaka, isda, bisa kanikutan. So, karon nga sitwasyon, dili kini tiyaw. Nilad kini kayo nga sitwasyon. And the problem here is, ang mga pork, mga baboy, dili ga follow og protocol. Di mo nato mas naong. Para di makatakot. Di ba, girlie? Di ba? May maning karon ang sakit nga sana. Wa pay vaccine. Okay ra man ni karon ang kining coronavirus kay you can say nga, okay, let us observe protocols. Daki, saan ta man ni? Di na to ni, for example, Mr. Chairman, magdalatag baboy dito sa dalon dito sa lechonero, baboy. Unsa niya pakibulungan ay sakit na? Wa man sa tay swab, di man to maswab ang baboy. Ha? And imagine blood test. So grabe. I-blood test ni mo tanan baboy. So, I want to listen to the expert minister J. Kay culturist man, pero ambot na ko, bitin na rin yun. Veterinarian. Let us invite the veterinarian from the National Meat Inspection Office. Let us invite the veterinarian of our city and tell us and tell them now to prepare for a proposal, concrete proposal. Then let's talk next week, Mr. Chairman. Grabe na ni. Hindi madalang istorya.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas. Okay, Councilor Yan Lamlin. To add something?
May hapon, Mr. Chair. May hapon,
May
sa
hapon.
tanan. Last week, we have already nag-assembly yung barangay assembly. Among guests is taga-DA. Ang affected area, those who are affected barangays, gapalito na sa DA, 5,000 kada baboy, bisag affected ug wala, basta that area na naigo sa swine, all that barangay, kuhaon ang ilang mga baboy. Then ang city, murag mo reimburse og 2,000. So, nag-disseminate na ta, nag-monitor na ang mga barangay captain. Kung may makadawat silang notice nga kanang area na affected, diya nga barangay halos tanan ang household diya nga nagbuhi og baboy. Waon gyud. Ang dili ma-affected ang line area. That's all. Daghang salamat.
Thank you, Councilor Yan Lamlin. So, is there anybody want to add something? There is none. Okay. So, Councilor J, Councilor, thank you for your special report, but at least your proposal must be thoroughly deliberated, and since your prayer was to approve at a proper time, so we have to craft it thoroughly and religiously about these restrictions that you are proposing and ordinance for this livestock industry. So, but not just livestock, as I said a while ago, but all of livestock products. As long as it is contagious in nature, and so as we have to consider it also for the proposal of Councilor Edgar Cabanlas for the territory which is adjacent to our city, that could be a challenge for us on how to cope it up in terms of making an ordinance as well. Thank you for your proposal, Councilor
Mr. Chairman.
J. Roa Pascual, for your
Okay.
special report.
Additional
Majority floor.
reaction.
Reaction.
When our city administrator relayed the message to us last week, that was Friday, as regards the executive order issued by the city mayor that complies the order of the president requiring all LGUs and other government agencies to enact regulations and implement the measures being implemented by Malacanang on the ASF concerns, Mr. Chairman. He also requested, the administrator also requested that the council will consider, and therewith our proposal, and it is found as additional item. But correctly put by Councilor Cabanlas, it's about inter-island. It's not about the proposal of Councilor J. Pascual on the intra-city or inter-barangay movement of hogs, Mr. Chairman. So pending before us is the inter-island, but we don't have yet the proposal as detailed as suggested by Councilor J. Pascual, Mr. Chairman. I responded also to the proposal of the city administrator when in one of the chat groups of the executive, there was a suggestion that we should ban the use of food waste or sapal for the food of the hogs. Of course, there are many aspects that they have considered. And I responded to the city administrator, it would be a downfall to the backyard industry if we will ban totally the pasaw, because banning pasaw, Mr. Chairman, or the food kitchen waste would mean we only allow commercial feeds, and that cannot be carried out by the backyard hog raisers. Nobody can, in the level of the backyard hog raisers, can proceed with its own livelihood, considering that feeds would form about 60 to 70% expenses, Mr. Chairman. The next is water. So that would be impossible for any person or family to conduct a livelihood at that level. So I suggested that we should understand the issues as regards pasaw or kitchen waste. We should ask the experts, the Department of Agriculture's Animal Industry Bureau, and study which of these components or chemicals or whatever there is in kitchen waste that would come out as a danger to the hogs and would create ASF or any other similar virus, Mr. Chairman, or bacteria. So maybe I join Councilor Cabanlas to listen to these experts, and let's enjoin also the Animal Industry Bureau of the Department of Agriculture, since it is lodged in this office the power to control, maintain, operate, and oversee the affairs of the animal industry, Mr. Chairman, in the entire country. I understand we also have that one bureaucracy in the regional office or even in the provincial or city. So I would also propose that we ask them, kay di sad pwede na to mas-sweeping, kay luoy po in town ang hog raisers, because we understand that 60 to 70% in our market are backyard hog raisers produced. So kung mawala na, bisag 50% lang, Mr. Chairman, wala. Patay gid ng industry. Kay ang large scale industry, di gid ka maka-expect. Kay kung ang mas mahal, dito gid sila mulabay og baligya, Mr. Chairman. So muna ang problema. Dako nga problema. So at the proper time, Mr. Chairman, and we also urge Councilor J. Pascual to draft and put in writing his proposals. Yes, his proposal, so that we can consider the matter. And before Thursday, Councilor J.
Okay, thank you, Majority Floor Leader Ayan Martin Dandakaya. In addition, okay, Councilor J. Roa Pascual.
Yes, I also agree with Councilor Ayan, Mr. Chair. Maybe we can probably kuan nga ang pasaw manggod usually is from mga karenderya. Actually sa Barangay Nazaret daw to nila nakita nga na maligya og pasaw. And then dito manggod sa pasaw naa po yung mga waste nga baboy. Ang kana manggod ang baboy, Mr. Chair, kung naay ASF, maski imo na siyang isugba, naagyapon siya ang ASF dito. It can live up to 2 years manggani kung nasa sa iyang feces. So hadlok kaayo ang ASF kung makaon pod sa lain nga baboy, kay ang pasaw baya, Mr. Chair, gitawag siyang pasaw kay lain-lain ba, na kanding, na baboy, na manok, na bukog sa unsa pa din na utan. I agree with Councilor Ayan nga sa merkado okay ra gyud kayo sila pakanon og mga laya nga mga utan or whatever. Maybe our public markets, I can attest to that nga daghan kayo ta og mga utan nga sayang sa mga public markets. Maybe Councilor Ayan can help with that, nga ang katong pamalit sa pasaw basig matagaan na lang nato sila libre nga kuan nga dito sila manguha sa mga utan nga mga daot katong na mga laya-laya na. So muna lang ang ilang ipakaon silang baboy sa kaysa mupalit sila sa mga kalenderya sa lain-lain barangay na mababahugan nila ang ilang mga baboy nga infected og ASF. I know dako kayog masayang, pero dako pug kag masayang nga matakdan ang baboy. Of course, maski baya ang wala na sakit patyon, gani ang mga gagmay na baboy kay ilubong na lang sila, dili na patyon kay maglisod og patay ang katong mga kuan kay tao pud baya na sila ang kanang gapamatay, mga hayop baya nang gapatyon. So luoy kayo Mr. Chair nga maski wala sila sakit, damay sila kamatay. So maybe we can study on that also nga mas dako na hinuon basin ang lugi sa kaysa kung ato lang ipakaon sa pasaw nga gikan sa mga karinderya o mga restaurants na na-infected dito ang baboy. So probably ang merkado pwede sila makahatag og mga swill foods nga gikan sa mga laya, mga daot na mga utan sa kaysa mupalit sa mga karinderya nga naay mga baboy nga possibly infected sa ASF. Daghang salamat, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Councilor J. R. Pascual. Thank you for your insight, Councilor J. But we have to stick to the first special report of yours, but that will be in line with it for the subject matter. But we have to stick for the proposal of yours about the trading, about the trading of this livestock. But we have to consider it also as you craft that ordinance that you are proposing. Okay, Councilor Enrico Salcedo.
Daghang salamat, Mr. Chairman. Wapo nga proposal pod nga bana nato ang pasaw. Pero nalantay tan-awon pod, Mr. Chairman. Kaya posible ka to, for example, gisite ni Councilor G-Boy Pascual nga naay na maligya o pasaw. Ang concern lang nako, Mr. Chairman, kung asa na to ilabay ang pasaw.
Well, okay.
Ang ako lang, Mr. Chairman, ba, kung in kaso kung naay proposal lugar nga iban na nato, at least may saktong gingon ni Councilor G-Boy nga invite na to ang tanan barangay captain para maplastar gid nato ang tinuod nga material recovery facility. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Enrico Salcedo. So there are lots of insight from different councilmen. So, but this could be just a proposal yet to be approved. So at this matter for this crafting this ordinance as proposed, Councilor J, this could be referred to your committee and crafting this ordinance, and
We have
see to
to,
it that you have to consider it also to the reactions of our fellow public servant here in the city council. So thank you for your special report of yours, and this matter will be referred to the Committee on Agriculture, chaired no other than Councilor J. Roa Pascual, coming from Barangay Tignapuluan, and the chairman of Committee on Agriculture.
may I proceed, Mr. Chairman?
Okay, Majority Floor Leader, Ayan Market na kaya.
A few weeks ago, Mr. Chairman, we have approved the request of the executive to move the schedule, the deadline of our renewal of business permit from January 31 to February 26. And in so doing, Mr. Chairman, the effectivity of, according to ordinance, the renewal of business permits for the stall holders in the public markets would start February 1. So in other words, the city treasurer's office have been very busy renewing the regular businesses and the public markets. In fact, some of our all of our stallholders, when they renew to process the renewal, they apply and they do the processing in the CED office and the westbound public market, and they have to go to the city treasurer because all the personnel of the city treasurer are not available for stations and branches because they are all in the city treasurer's office for the regular business renewal. And so there have been delayed. And the plight of our stallholders now, considering the issues on ASF and many other aspects that have been imposed upon by the government on ceilings, etc., Mr. Chairman, have impacted their income. And so they are, I have copies, Mr. Chairman, from the westbound public market stakeholders or storeholders association, the Carmen, Cogon markets, Mr. Chairman, asking for the extension. The common request is April 30, but that would be too much already if we give them 2 months, because in the renewal of business permit, we only gave them 1 month, right? Up to February 26. So our proposal, Mr. Chairman, we cannot do otherwise, because if we consider the proposal on March 1, that would be the system in the city treasurer's office would automatically impose penalties, Mr. Chairman. So we have to act now as a city council whether or not to consider the proposal up to April 30, or my proposal, Mr. Chairman, is up to March 31 or the last Friday of March, Mr. Chairman. Just 1 month. Otherwise, if we will act later, that would we will create an automatic penalty for those who will renew March 1. So at the proper time, Mr. Chairman, we would like to propose that we provide and give extension to our public market stallholders up to the last Friday of March. When is the last Friday? No, it's not the last Friday. We can do March 31 because it's Wednesday. I'm looking at the February, the last working day is 26.
So majority floor, as they pay for their taxes as their obligation, so this could be subjective just for the market vendors.
Yes, all. Bulwa, Cogon, Carmen, and Puerto. We have done that in each year, Mr. Chairman. We have extended, but for now, the seriousness is really high, considering all the circumstances, Mr. Chairman. I am turning over to the City Secretary the request.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. At the proper time, so from February 26 to March 31?
31.
31.
It's Wednesday.
Okay. So is there anyone to reaction or a reaction for, or in addition for the special report? There is none. So at the proper time.
Councilor Salcedo is next.
Councilor Enrico Salcedo, mayong hapon kanimo konsihal.
Daghang salamat, Mr. Chairman. Daghang salamat, Majority Floor Leader. Pagatawi gayon. Gamay rin niya akong special report, Mr. Chairman, regarding sa atong traffic labi na diya sa Cogon Market. Nako'y naigyabot na complain o nako sa naobserbahan, Mr. Chairman, o giyagian po na to. Diya sa Osmeña, dapit sa Osmeña padulong sa kanang Osmeña gyud kanang sa Cogon Market kanang sa trend line kaniadto. Nag-impose ang RTA, Mr. Chairman, o one side parking. Ang problema lang, Mr. Chairman, kay nagreklamo nga businessman nga nanong diri nga side sa Alpi Commercial and Jollibee o diya sa Kaking man siguro na or Unitap nganong dili pod ipaparking kung atong tan-aw, Mr. Chairman, luag kayo ang dalan unya dili pod two-way, one way lang. Both sides unta, Mr. Chairman, nga ipaparking unta kay kaya pa man sa traffic. Ako lang pangutana, number one, nag-submit na ba sila og traffic plan dinhi sa ato sa City Council? At least ma-discuss na to, Mr. Chairman. Second, kung nag-submit sila, ila bang gitanaw ang volume sa sakyanan diya nga moagi para maka-impose sila og one-side parking. Okay lang siguro, Mr. Chairman, kung two-way na. Pero one-side parking naman, Mr. Chairman, muna unfair pod sa pikas nga mga negosyo kung dili pod nato sila ipaparking. Anyway, Mr. Chairman, luag man kayo. Kung wala ko masabi, 6 lane na nga dalan. Usa kini akong special report, Mr. Chairman, ako i-submit sa Committee on Road and Traffic, Mr. Chairman, nga gipanguluhan ni Councilor General. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Enrico Salcedo. Okay, reaction coming from Councilor Edgar Cabanlas. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Duwala ni ka-issue nga akong gusto. Kasakit ni kong ulo ng traffic na to. First, ang atong traffic, gasinibog imbis gabanti. Ang atong rules. We are supposed to have a centralized traffic management office that would control the movement of traffic in every corner and every street in the city. That was the plan 5 years ago. We allocated funds for the traffic lights. Gone. Wala. The centralized office for the traffic management. Wala. While other nations are already advancing the technology of traffic management, we are going backward. Backward kita. Totally backward. Number 2 issue. Asa bang sayop na ni? Are we giving enough? Are we giving overwhelming authority, absolute authority to the RTA to fix what road should be used, like one way, two-way, two-way, no entry, no. Are we giving this office that full authority to determine the flow of traffic in the city? Or is it the power of the city council to pass traffic ordinances as provided for in the local government code? Kani man good, Mr. Chairman. For example, kung yung nagkaroon nga dili nimo pagian kanang dalan at tubangan sa kining City Hall sa two-way, i-one-way mo na, you cannot just not do it without asking the city council for authority. Because we are the framers of the rules and regulation. Ang ako nabantayan, bisa kung saan lang bitaw. Tak, sira dinis, abri dito, sira dini, abri dito. Parking mo, buat is parking dini, dili pwede dini, pwede na sa karon, ugma, pwede na sa dini, pwede na sa karon. Sa ba kaniyang libog na mataan eh. So therefore, I am reiterating supporting pero let us expand. Let us tickle the imagination of our RTA and tell them nga, kana yung gabuhaton, gipasagdan naman mo na mo. We have all the authority to change everything. And yet, di lang gapon epektibo. Kasi may kumabalik kita sa basic that you will ask the permission of the city council so that it can be considered sort of kay mo man ang balaod. Lugar kung panalitahin mo nila ng karon nga wala traffic, walay panugos sa city council, kung ilang madakpan, pwede nila multahan. No. Dami po tanong sila sa West nga, kung sa may imong basis, RTA. nakamay ordinansa sa City Council nga dili pwede na. Ang problema, Mr. Chairman, abi nimo, ang mga tao nga kadakpan ilang reklamo. So, kibulos balaod. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas. Okay, Councilor Romeo Calizo, quick reaction coming from his committee.
Thank you very much,
May hapon.
Mr. Chairman. Mayang hapon kanimo. And also, good afternoon to my colleagues. Of course, with due respect to Councilor Ed Cabanlas, the question really appears rhetoric. Of course, our RTA will always follow the traffic code and enforcing the traffic law. Hindi man siguro sila pataka lang ug enforce sa mga traffic law nga walay basihan. And we know that. But of course, probably to the observation of some of us, there appears to be some imperfections in the enforcement. But still, we have the traffic code being followed, and this has existed for long. No? And we have been constantly meeting so that the enforcement will go well. No? Now, on the aspect of a traffic management office, unlike CDR, which is well equipped, our RTA office, really management office, which is borrowing space at the city engineering department, is still not that fully equipped. But it's not part of their LTPRP, their plan, no? To fully equip not only the office, but also the monitoring of traffic within Cagayan de Oro City. Kaya, malagi, di man good pwede nga, maragyan ka ng police visibility, traffic aid visibility, mo gyapon na. We cannot really pour in traffic personnel in every inch of the traffic affected areas here in Cagayan de Oro City. But I'd like to invite, of course, Councilor Cabanlas and Councilor Eric Salcedo in our meeting so that they can, right there and then in the committee meeting, they can air all their suggestions. Kaya during our budget deliberation, naman diha ang ilang present man nila ilang mga traffic plans. Naman diha good ang mga projects nga ilang reprioritize so that they'll be given the appropriate budget. Now, katong specific lang katong Councilor Eric no dito sa Osmeña. I'm sure kini magud atong RTA. Naay ka ng mga on the spot solutions sa mga problema sa traffic. Mo man ang sitwasyon and they have to react. They appear reactive kay mo man problema. They have to infuse outright solutions to some traffic situations. Siguro dito kay 6 lanes lagi na ngano kuno nga isaraman ka side ang one side lang ang gi-allow ang parking. Ngano dili man both sides para matagaan pud og parking space ang uban nga mga motorista. Well, thank you very much for the question, Councilor Eric. Kay probably in our meeting. Anyway. One way, good. So why one-way street, only one side is being allowed the parking? Siguro ato ginang ipatubag ang RTA na Councilor Eric. And I'm sure this part of their what was short-term solutions, no? But I'm sure in their LTPRP, the land traffic and public transport plan, the long-term solutions are already there. including improving their traffic management office. It's tinood lang yun, pagod na maayo. And the equipage is not yet that acceptable. No? And all the other facets of traffic management are included. Pagod, ang pag-enforce, they are at the dilemma. Our traffic engineering is not yet that very much well in place. Ito nga, siyempre, considering that our RTA personnel needs really that appropriate training for traffic management, traffic enforcement. So, muna yung mga glitches in our traffic management, which needs really to be improved some more. No? Our traffic management acceptably needs improvement. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Romeo Calizo. Okay,
Thank you.
Majority Floor Leader.
I
Ayan,
was
Martin
like,
Natapaya.
thank you. I was like Councilor Edgar Cabanlas earlier on in my political career, Mr. Chairman. I shouted the highest pitch of my voice on the issues of traffic. In fact, because of those tyrants that I have raised, tirades, it caused the removal of RTA chief, not RTA, TMEB chief then, Mr. Chairman, the Traffic Management Enforcement Board. But I found no solution. I volunteered before the council and I asked that I be the chair so that I would have a hand, and it resulted the traffic code of Cagayan de Oro. But still, Mr. Chairman, we have the ordinance and the other amendments of the traffic. The problem of traffic still a mess. When I returned to the city council in 2016, Mr. Chairman, I personally asked the city mayor that I will volunteer, aside from the economic enterprise projects that he would like me to oversee. I would like to volunteer because I would like to help. And it resulted some adjustments. The two-way of JR Borja Street, Mr. Chairman, was my proposal. And that is the traffic problem in Cogon area. But then it's still a problem. I remember, Mr. Chairman, even more than 10 years ago, Councilor Cabanlas and I talked about the traffic. He suggested to me that we will have a vest. Do you remember, Councilor Cabanlas? We will volunteer on the streets. We have a vest, Mr. Chairman. Councilor Cabanlas, and we have individual vest for all members of the council. Di pa pahit na mo. Kung namin sa dalan, mag-volunteer na lang yun. Tinood na, Mr. Chairman, namin vest. Napabay mo. Napasubay. Kaya mo gana ang problema sa traffic. Dili gid masulbad, Mr. Chairman. Number one, we have volume of transportation units, and we have narrow roads. We could not do otherwise. In Divisoria, you cannot demand additional space because it's already there. In the other areas also, Mr. Chairman, the same problem. So we need beyond legislating, manginlabot na lang. Muna nakadumdum siguro si Mayor. But last December, I was asked that I will oversee the concerns of Cogon. That was last week when we had the discussion with the RTA chief. And I scolded him to be literal and do not listen to branch managers, PNB and BDO. When we have a discussion, grabe kayo. Tingnan ako nga stakeholder po ang mga bangko. Kuana na mo din na mga nirado na sila kaya wala sila clients. Katong nag-complain kang Councilor Cabanlas tuwag yapon dito. Stakeholder gyapon na siya, di na pwede nimong kuan og pick up station. Loy kayo mga tao. Anyway, I asked the members nga siguro mag-volunteer sa ta. And in fact, before the session, I've talked with Councilor Calizo that we will fine-tune the traffic code and we will have a joint proposal as regards Motorella and other concerns so that we will improve our traffic. We will reduce Motorella numbers in on the roads para ubus-ubusan. So as regards sa kang Councilor Eric Salcedo, Mr. Chairman, I guess he is right. We have wide road there, and maybe we can entertain for now, and up to the time that the volume of transport unit would increase. That's the time we will reduce again and make adjustments. We need to update our laws. And traffic fluid kayo. So I join the direction of the presiding officer that it be referred to the traffic committee of Councilor Calizo.
Okay, thank you, Majority Floor Leader. I think the special reporter of ours this afternoon will be yielding his plans to the committee chairman. They started talking a while ago as I saw it. So thank you, Councilor Enrico Salcedo, for your special report, but we noted and refer it to the committee chairman on the traffic. Northern Councilor Romeo Calizo.
Next
Okay.
is Councilor Gani.
To our birthday celebrant, Councilor Maria Lourdes Gani. Happy birthday to you, and you are the special reporter this afternoon.
May
The last
hapon ka
reporter,
na.
Majority Floor, the last reporter this afternoon. Okay, we have to just listen first and find it out later on. Okay, Councilor Maria Lourdes Gaani, ayong hapon kanimong konsehala.
May hapon ka na itong tanan. My special report now is, this was a product of what Councilor Edgar Cabanlas reported last few weeks ago on the updates of the COVID-19 vaccination plan. The first COVID-19 case in the whole Mindanao was confirmed on March 11, 2020 in Cagayan de Oro City. By May 7, local transmission in Cagayan de Oro has been confirmed involving 3 individuals. As of February 20, the country has had almost 560,000 confirmed cases with 12,000 deaths and 513,000 recoveries. Locally, Cagayan de Oro City has recorded almost 3,700 cases as of February 20, with 3,130 recoveries, representing an 85.9% recovery rate and 176 deaths. Despite the observance of minimum public health standards, Department of Health recommends vaccination as an important way to control infection from COVID-19. No less than President Rodrigo Roa Duterte has required mass vaccination before government would allow school children to attend face-to-face classroom interaction. With news that vaccines have been developed late last year, LGUs have signified intent to purchase their own doses. Thus, the city government has committed almost 300 million for this purpose. The cities of Zamboanga, Davao, and Iligan, and Lanao del Sur province have followed suit. Last week, City Health Office conducted the first in a series of COVID-19 vaccination simulations at the city-run Jay R General Hospital, together with the Department of Health and representatives of private hospitals and other medical facilities. Another set of simulations are set for barangays in March. Department of Health Region 10 expects the COVID-19 vaccines to arrive around the third quarter of the year. This will be administered first to medical frontliners, indigent communities, including senior citizens, and uniformed personnel, such as the police, military, rescuers, and other pre-identified priority groups. In order to achieve herd immunity against COVID-19, at least 75% of the population must be vaccinated. Based on the nationwide projection, it will take at least 3 years to achieve the projected figure. Today's briefing by the city COVID-19 vaccination team would provide updates of its core groups and functions, namely finance and procurement, data management, logistics, immunization and vaccination, demand generation, and communications. May I then request for a motion to suspend the rules to request Dr. Teodoro Yu Jr., our medical officer in HEPO 4 of City Health Office, in behalf of our acting City Health Officer, Dr. Neri, to present our Cagayan de Oro COVID-19 vaccination plan. Thank
Okay,
you. Nandang hapon.
Seconded. So the 19th City Council Parliamentary Rules of Procedure is suspended. Okay. Do you have any reporter this afternoon?
Dr. Yu?
Okay, Dr. Yu, mayong hapon kanimo. You have your you may now proceed.
Good afternoon,
May
Vice
hapon.
Mayor. No? Good
May
afternoon,
hapon.
honorable councilors. No? So this is I have a PowerPoint presentation. So this is the Cagayan de Oro COVID-19 vaccination deployment plan. No? It's an interim work in progress Cagayan de Oro COVID vaccination plan. No? Next slide is the outline presentation. No? So I will be discussing the organizational structure, the plan objectives, priority target population, Cagayan de Oro priority A for vaccination, vaccination sites and simulation, cold chain and logistics, no? Budget, demand generation and communication, marketing, COVID-19 vaccination. Next slide. So for the structure, no, these are the core structure on the yellow side. You can see headed by our, of course, beloved mayor. Then the overall coordinator will be our acting City Health Officer, Dr. Lorraine Neri, and the different personalities, no, in the city of Cagayan de Oro, different department heads. Then it will break down further into 5 task force, no. Mainly finance and procurement group, demand generation and communication, no. For the finance and procurement headed by Attorney Percy Salazar, demand generation and communication task force headed by Mama Maricel Rivera. Then we have the cold chain and logistic management, no, headed by Dr. William Bernardo. Data management and M&E by Sir Cogon, no? Of course, Dr. Bernardo and yours truly. No? And then we have our last task force is our immunization program task group, no, headed by Dr. Inachu, our vaccine coordinator in the City Health Office of Cagayan de Oro. So for our objective, no, next slide, ma'am. Our objective really is to provide a free and effective, high-quality vaccine against SARS-CoV-2, prioritizing the most at risk and most vulnerable population with equity in distribution. Then our target really is to achieve 70% of the population of Cagayan de Oro, no, as we are following the national prioritization of eligible people to be vaccinated. Next slide, ma'am. So these are based on the Department of Health. We have 3 groups, no? Number 1 group is our group A is our first priority. We have our frontline, indigent senior citizen, remaining senior citizen, no, and indigent population plus the uniformed personnel. No? We have this data already at local level. So the group A is our first priority. No? So next slide, ma'am, for priority group B. So for group B, so we have our teachers, no, social workers, other government officials, no, other essential workers like health, education, social welfare, then other demographics. No, we have our PWDs, our PDLs, no, a person living in. Sorry for that. No. Then the last group is the remaining Filipino citizen above 18 years old. No? So for the next slide, we'll just give you the rundown for priority A. So for the frontline, no, health workers, we have almost 7,000. So to be exact, 6,896. No, it is breakdown already into public hospitals, private hospitals, private clinics, no, as well as our public health workers. Then we have our barangay health workers, nutrition scholars, our barangay captains, no, as part of our BHEARTS team. Then we have already our senior citizen breakdown in indigent and non-indigent, and our indigent population plus our uniform personnel. No? So we have a total of, sa Group A natin, 112,500, no? 59. So for the next slide, no? So these are our rollout plans. No? Actually, we started orienting all our health personnel, no, done last January 26, 27, 28. Then we'll be creating the operation center for COVID vaccine, no, at the city health office. Of course, we'll be activating the different members of the polio, measles as OPSEN members. We required, no, additional manpower, so that's why we are in constant coordination with the different medical societies and hospitals in the city. We'll have a hotline number to answer queries about vaccination. Hotline number is already in the slide, no. Then, as stated by Honorable Councilor Gaani, no, we started already last February 16 our simulation at our JRB hospital, no, and we are in constant coordination with other private hospitals as well to have a simultaneous simulation activities. And I think by March we'll be starting our community simulation at Macasandig, no, covered court. So we are finalizing with Department of Health with the schedule of the simulation. So on my next slide, we have identified already the fixed points, no, for vaccination. We have 15 sites, no. Later I will show the map saan to nakalagay yung 15 vaccination sites and the 70 vaccination team, no. So for West, East, Central, and Highland. So ma'am, next slide please for the. So we identified already using our GIS maps, no. On the succeeding slides also the number of teams, no, in the West District. Next slide, ma'am. 27 teams, no. For the East District, 18 teams, then Central District, 16 teams, and Highland, 9 teams, no. So we are, as recommended by Department of Health, no, we'll be vaccinating 17 to 100 persons per day, no, per fixed post is allowed. And then we are already in constant communication with DepEd also, and the different schools and gymnasium, no. So added additional fixed posts for the vaccination sites, no. If we compute the 112, no, by 15 vaccination team times 100, so an average of 1,500 persons to be vaccinated in a day divided by 112, so roughly 76 days for that priority A group, no. Next slide, please. So these are the schools lang na being identified, of course, subject to recommendation and changes pa to inspection later on, no. So sige ma'am, next slide, ma'am. So these are the schools. Next slide. Next slide. And the other vaccination sites, no, like JRB, other private hospitals as well. And then we recommended also mga schools, no, like next slide, ma'am. So gyms, schools, and at part of our contingency plan. So for the next slide, we'll just see some of the recommendations, no, given by Department of Health during the simulation activity done last February 16 with the different partners, private hospitals, no, other GAs and other agencies, no. So in the simulation, we will be having 5 areas, no. The first of all, the waiting area. Then you will be having the registration, assessment, counseling, the vaccination, actual vaccination area, plus the observation area, no, before you'll be sent home. So these were the recommendations then, no, so of Department of Health. Next slide, ma'am. So with regards to cold chain, no, logistic management, the City Health will increase our vaccination storage, no. With regards to our biomedical freezers, no, ito yung mga negative 20 degrees. Then our biomedical refrigerators, ito yung negative 2 to 8 degrees. Then availability of our, of course, reps, no, available naman by Department of Health, our transport mechanisms, and we will secure more vaccination coolers to sustain yung temperature. Then we'll be holding drills on vaccination. Actually, we'll be preparing also time in motion really from the central vaccination sites to the different vaccination sites. Then we'll be using RTA to escort to avoid delays during the actual vaccination program. So this is the vaccine being projected that we'll be purchasing yung Novavax vaccine. Later I'll explain yung Novavax vaccine, a COVAX vaccine, through the help of Attorney Percy and the Finance and Logistic Department. They already line list the different expenses, including our projection. Based on our projection, initially we'll be purchasing at least 10% of the population, amounting to 75,000 times 2, of course, is 150,000 dose. And then considering the wastage and number of vaccines all being computed, I can give the honorable body the copy of this mga annexes being given. So then why Novavax? Novavax is one of the most promising vaccine currently in the market. It is made in United Kingdom with the Serum Institute of India. And this is highly recommended by Bill Gates because it has a very good potential among the variants of the UK and South African variant, and it can boost further immunity based study. So based by Department of Health, this will be out by July. So that's why we're in time with this. 30,000 doses of Novavax will be out. So that's why the team is really preparing hard to be in line with this Novavax vaccine. So for I think next slide, ma'am, is the demand generation and communication group. It's really a big challenge for the city. Number one, the objective really is to understand and feel confident in the city rollout COVID vaccine plan, believe in fairness, equitable selection and distribution of vaccine, gain and maintain trust in the demand of COVID vaccine. Then we continue preventive health behaviors, still hand washing, mask wearing, and physical distancing. Next slide, ma'am. So these are the tasks that we'll be doing for demand generation. Another big challenge for the group really is the vaccine acceptance rate. Nationally, I think 39 to 42% acceptance rate. In the city, we're doing the survey through our data validation. As of this morning, we have already 100,000 persons being surveyed. Around 50% of that 50,000 are answered maybe, 25,000 yes, and another 25,000 no. So another group of 75,000 hopefully will be convincing them to be vaccinated. So next slide, ma'am. So these are the activities lang for demand generation. I think the demand generation will be doing a great role also in this aspect. We'll be partnering with local champions and other personalities, hopefully to convince people to be vaccinated, whatever vaccines are available. Next slide, ma'am. So these are the pictures of my boss, Dr. Leneri, during one of the sessions sa Liga ng Barangay. So we are in partnership with our barangay captains or punong barangays as early as now, really to help us convince people to be vaccinated. And hopefully the data validation survey with our punong barangay will help us. So I think that's the last slide. So, thank you.
Councilor Roger Abaday would like to be recognized, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Councilor Roger Abaday.
Thank you very much, Honorable Vice Mayor, Presiding Officer, my colleagues, especially in the virtual space, attending. Thank you for the good presenter, Councilor the birthday girl, the Malugani, and Dr. Yu. Dr. Roy, you? Cousin of Vice Mayor Roy. Good afternoon. My report was overtaken by the report of Councilor Malo, but this is coupled the connection with the report because my report supposed to be the hesitancy of vaccine COVID-19. Thanks to you that Dr. Roy. How much do you have the survey sa Cagayan de Oro, those who are hesitant and not, how many percent?
Sir, as of this morning, sir, we have already 100,000 respondent. Based on that, sir, 50,000, almost 50,000 maybe. Then 25,000 no, and then 25,000 sir, yes, sir. So almost 50, 25, 25%, sir.
Eksakto ang survey sa DILG nationwide that 40% of Filipinos will hesitate or refuse to be vaccinated. So now, because of lack of, do you have your campaign, Doc? By presiding officer, I will ask that. What is your strategy to convince this how many percent? 75% who are hesitant to be vaccinated because it's one problem of the implementation. Do you have your strategy, Doc?
Yeah. Yes, sir. No, actually, it's a really big challenge on the demand generation communication group. But the group has taken a stride on this one as early as now. That's why on the different sectors, sir, we'll be making the demand generation. First of all, I think our big challenge will be the health frontliners, sir. So we'll be conducting surveys sa JRB and the City Health Office. Once we have a good percentage of this number of health workers to be vaccinated, at least people will be enticed to be vaccinated also because they'll be looking at the health personnel to be vaccinated. But different strategies, sir. So we're thinking of interfaith, pastoral letters. That's why religious groups, recorridas sa barangay, and other groups that will be meeting the different like homeowners, senior citizen group, the IP group, PWD. So we'll be breaking it down really a big challenge for the groups are to have a demand generation and communication campaign, especially to increase the demand of these maybe groups.
Okay, so but for purposes of information, Doc, in addition, what is recommended by expert that doctors and health expert must also inform the general public the effects and side effects of vaccine, because this is one hesitancy of the public, especially the efficacy, the availability, and the preservation of vaccine. Now, I will ask again, Doc, do we have storage? Especially ang pag-storage na ni kay labi na sa Pfizer product or Pfizer and what's this another one, American Pfizer and Moderna. It must be as colder as Antarctica. Very cold, zero. So can we have available storage for that? That Novavax is indeed storage.
Sir, for Novavax, it's not that more than 70 degrees Celsius, sir. But we have one here, sir, already. Not being used currently at the Biosafety Laboratory 2. However, sir, it has only 134 liters capacity, a very small capacity, sir. But the city government is thinking not to invest that after the vaccine kasi, sir, will not be using wastage of money. So probably part of our order, sir, is yung mga 2 to 8 degrees which you have available refrigeration already, sir.
Okay. Ano gun ang tambal kung dali ra man sa mo expire kung wala tayo saktong storage, di ba?
That's why, sir, yes, sir, yes.
So, okay. Another last na lang ni Doc. This another reason for now according to published report that the production of vaccines by Western countries for 2021 is only 56.6 billion, 5.6 billion people. It's not enough for the whole world. Kita 7.8 billion people. So 80% of the anticipated total Western countries' production has been brought preemptively by US, European Union, Britain, Canada, and Japan. Only 800 million doses are available for the rest of the world, which is why the vaccine production of China, Sinovac, Sinopharm, and Russia, Gamaleya are critical for marginal countries like Philippines. So, do you agree with this, Doc?
Yes, sir. That's why, sir, we're looking at prioritization of the group, sir, especially with the limited number of vaccines available. And Department of Health, sir, has a 3-year plan of vaccination to achieve our herd immunity, sir. So,
Britain is UK, di ba?
Yes, sir.
Ilan ning nababak?
yes, sir. It is in partnership with the Serum Institute of India, sir. It's a promising, really a promising vaccine because based on this vaccine, sir, it attacks it's a adjuvant vaccine. So more vaccines can be produced, sir, with this type of novel vaccine, sir.
Okay.
So,
Ano sa gid maka abot ang vaccine sa kagayan euro?
I cannot siguro personally, but I think by July, sir, as stated by the national government, Novavax will be available, sir. That's why we're in a hurry. Hopefully by this second quarter, we can make the recommendations and probably proper purchase will be made already or reservations, sir.
So that's the reason why plenty are hesitant to be vaccinated because they are not sure of the vaccine, especially that ang hearing nila is it is non-available and made from neighboring country. So that's all my question, Sir Vice Mayor and Presiding Officer. Thank you, Mark.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Jagabaday. Okay, Councilor J. Roa Pascual. To some clarificatory question.
Mr.
Wants
Chair.
to address to. Okay.
Nanaon to kipungutana. If mahuman na ka og vaccine, for example, na vaccinate na ko, nganong mag-mask pa man? I mean, kung dili na ko matakdan, makatakod pa lugar ko sa lain, matakdan pa ko sa virus. If na vaccinate na ka, Doc, makatransmit pa bagyapon ka? Kay, 'di ba, kung mag-vaccinate na ka, ang purpose ka dili na ka matakdan.
Honorable sir, no? You can still be transmitted, but you will not have a severe type of COVID infection. So these are the 5 questions here, sir, that cannot be answered at present, no? Duration of immunity, impact of vaccine to reduce transmission. So these are still 5 questions that cannot be answered by the entire world on the 11 vaccine being produced. So that's why, sir, it's very critical still to have the minimum public health standard, use our face mask, face shield, social distancing pa rin po. Until we have such answers to these questions. Unfortunately, sir, the experts even worldwide has no answer at present. But once you'll be vaccinated, mas less po, minsan asymptomatic or mild lang po yung inyong symptoms.
Okay, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas. Are free to ask question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I would like to thank Dr. Councilor Gani and also Dr. Yu and the entire vaccine operation team for this report. I think this was in response to my query on how ready we are for the vaccine rollout. Mr. Chairman, we have to remind our people in the city that vaccine in the city is not forthcoming. We have to wait. We have to wait for another 5 months perhaps. Para di kita magkumpiyansa. Kay ato ra ba naobserbahan karon nga karon lang adlaw, karong orasa, karong minuto niya na kita tanan. Pasabot gi kana. Kumpiyansa. Laban bago po itong vaccine, nagtudwa, tuluran. Karon, marag kompleto kita. So I think we have to remind our people that being a third world country, vaccine is not as fast as we would like to have. Wala kita pirmi. And according to the report of Dr. Yu, July pa tayo maabot, ang ato ka nang giingon nila nga nububak. Now, ang ako is, nga na lang nito baga, Dak, kung ma-indiksyonan ako karon sa Sinovac, ako karon, ma-indiksyonan ako sa Sinovac, magilom-ilom ko niya, pwede ba nga ma-indiksyonan ko kutro? Pagkabot na lugar sa, magkabot lugar ito sa nububak, pwede ba ako ma-indiksyonan ko kutro? Di ba ko ma-overdose? So, yung mga primero, sikan ako nga query is, you have mentioned about the teams created by the mayor, the vaccine rollout team. Lima na kabuk. Personally, I would like to have a spokesman coming from Europe. Para nga atong tagon nga vaccine czar, so that this person who will be assigned as a vaccine czar or a spokesman for the team, you don't have to come. Everybody should not don't have to have all people there here. Nalay spokesman para fast ang atong information nga paagi. Para na sa Manila, di ba si Dr. Galvez, General Galvez, siya ang vaccine czar. The president will only asking questions about all other aspect about the vaccine program. So, maghangyo ko, personally, I hope, but lang nga sa uban, okay ba? Nga doon natin, usa ka spokesman, di kan sa, lima ko ni ka-team, tasakon tanong pangutan na. So, pwede ba nga, maani lang siya din eh, anong tawagon, kumusta naman? Ikatulo is, July no, kining ang ikatulo for me is important. Before we are in the belief nga kung ang tanan konsyal, mayor, vice mayor magpa-injection tubangan sa TV, dagan mo follow. Dagan ba makonbinsir nga mga tao katong mga gaduda pa bitaw, kung kaming tanan maglinya mi injeksyonan mo. Nagpa-injection si Councilor Salcedo, injection sa ta. Mingon lugar na kanang 50%. It's not true. In the research of in Europe, the best way to convince people to have this vaccination is for the poor people to be vaccinated first. Dili ang mga gamhanan. Sabot na ako. Ang mga frontliners, mo ipakita nga nagpa-injection sila and everybody will follow. Sumuko na ako itong mahaton, dili kita magpakuan na nga. Kani mga health workers. Pero kung masabay ta, tiga po na yung problema. O di na ito like all. Muna nga, kung buti ko sabot, Dak, nga, litas, kining vaccination generation demand, muna ilang trabaho. Nga, dito sa uban mga nasod, ang ilang gipanguna ko itong mga didili nga mga na-disas, ordinary mga tao. Because ordinary people will follow what the ordinary people are doing. Nana na siya. So that would be my input. Dili kay mayor man siya, pero di mo sunod dito. Mga tao. Na ikaw, Pat, is Pagawad, ikaw una dia. Now, ang akong pungutan is, the procurement team of our city sa vaccine. Naaba sila kung sa may ilang paagi nga, pwede kita makasingit ba? Kasingit, ano bang singit-singit? May mahilig na. Di Pascual, may pasingit-singit. For example, for example, SM, Limkitkay, Gaisano, Ayala, kung na mga dagko rin eh. They will buy vaccine. Because do not allow man sila karon. The private sector is allowed to buy vaccine directly from the supplier, but of course, through the coordination with the national government. Now, ang one half sa ilang giprocure, for example, palit sila og 100,000, 50% of that is given to the government. Di ba? LGU, libre. Ambot nga nung tagaan kita libre. Kung sa ibot pasabutan na, ambot pasabot niya na, nga nung gitagaan kita sa 50% sa ilang i-procure para madali ang ilang procurement. I think that's the reason. Para tag-suburnuhan para tabangan sila. Kaya ang 50% mo may i-inject sa ilang mga empleyado, tagaan to nila og 50%. Now, I want to know what happened to that. Because na may ilang order. So kung tanauna pa sila, na if this private companies in the city, Cogon Euro, nga niya din nagnegosyo, can we avail of that advanced vaccine para sa ating mga frontliners? Muna na, salamat kayo, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas. Okay, lastly, Councilor George Goking. Last lang, Doc, Councilor George Goking.
May hapon,
May
Mr.
hapon.
Chairman, may hapon sa tanan nga kauban ako sa 19 City Council. Salamat, Dr. Yu. He's an Air Force Reservist. Doc, na-commission ka na ba? My question here is like this. I'd like to refer this question to Dr. Gani, Dr. Gani kay she helped me in finding a vaccine for anti-flu o pneumonia vaccine. So, am I still qualified to take the vaccine? Kay murag the concept of the kaning vaccine against COVID-19 is murag sa pneumonia o sa flu-like. Kada murag nabay relationship ana kung na-injectionan ako, Mr. Chairman, pa-injection pa ba ko? So the second question is katukang kagawad pare Atty. Cabanlas, katong gi-offer sa mga companies kay there is a law, I still have to verify nga upon the order of Malacanang katong mopalit og a certain kind of vaccine, you have to buy one, but sa ilang corporate social responsibility, they have to give another one. Murag is mandated, but I need to validate. So a certain kind of, I think it was imposed Sinovac. I'm not sure kung imposed po sa lain nga vaccine. So kanara, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilor George Goking. Okay, it was addressed to Councilor Maria Lourdes Gani for the birthday celebrant.
Thank you, Councilor George. Actually, his question was, he was already vaccinated with flu and pneumonia this year. And pwede pa ba siya ma-vaccine sa coronavirus? Considering na ang presentation sa COVID-19 is more on pneumonia, and kani siya na siya specific strain nga ang coronavirus, it's a must na vaccine ka against coronavirus. Kung na-vaccine ka sa flu and pneumonia kung naanang vaccine sa corona magpa-vaccine yapon. Okay?
So Councilor George Goking at his age, at his condition, is still eligible to be vaccinated.
Yes, sir. The more kay vulnerable si Councilor George Goking, considering na siya sa mga senior group. So, mo na ang mga one of the priorities na mga groups na kailangan i-vaccine.
Still eligible, but I think for safety purposes, you must have to sign a waiver that she will not be liable. Anything harm will happen along the way. Well, I think everybody is eligible, but wala man ipog sanay. Mao lagi. Okay, anybody wants to have a clarificatory question about this vaccine? Okay. Dr. Yu wants to add something.
I'll just answer, sir, the query of Honorable Councilor
okay.
Cabandas, sir. So first of all, sir, if vaccinated with specific brand like Sinovac, you're not advised to vaccinate with other type of vaccine because these are still under emergency use authorization. All of them are still in clinical trial 3. So we need to monitor every person sir being vaccinated, whatever type of vaccine, to a period of 1 year. So we need to monitor any adverse reaction, sir, and report it immediately, sir. So it's not advisable, sir, because we don't know what type of vaccine will be having this adverse reaction. So then noted number 2, sir, we will, once we have a meeting, sir, we will try to designate a vaccine SAR as stated. Then with regards to the champion, sir, that's why we are prioritizing, sir, healthcare workers, our healthcare frontliners. They are the first to be given the vaccine once available by the Department of Health. So to entice the people that are frontliners, particularly our healthcare workers, are willing to be vaccinated and continues to serve the people of Cagayan de Oro and its periphery. Then with regards to the procurement, sir, I think our logistics has already started doing some legwork and groundwork with the different suppliers also, sir, asking already, no, availability and types of like that, no. So we leave it to our logistics and procurement and finance team on that aspect. With regards to your private sector, sir, true, part of IATF recommendation, once the private sector will buy, 50% should be given to the local LGU where their companies are based. That is why, sir, very critical with regards to our data validation. So not to double our order. That's why we have the companies with their different address and barangay. We'll be segregating them, sir. Senior citizen will be doing a GIS map, the entire city at the barangay level, separating the different age groups, sir. And even our hospital frontliners, sir, we need to know where specific barangays they are located, not to duplicate our purchaser and even the private companies. That's why, sir, it's very tedious on the part on the data management.
Doc, at this moment, do private companies located here in Cagayan de Oro already ordered?
Some of them, sir, we have also a designated point person in the person of Ma'am Eileen San Juan, sir, constantly in meeting with our private sector together with Dr. Magda Juan as designated. So both of them are constantly updating our task force with regards to our private sector in particular, sir, whatever their status at probably in the succeeding meetings, we can update you on the specific companies and further agreements, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Yu. Okay, Councilor Roger Abaday. Oh, hirit pa. Oh.
Last lang, Doc. Will you please explain to us in brief lang this misunderstood efficacy of chance to be being infected and chance of preventing severe infection. This Novavax.
I think except, sir, sa Sinovac, majority of which are under 90 to 95% with regards to efficacy. And the severity, sir, at least all of them will reduce the severity of 100% or 95 to 100% will reduce the severity of the disease, sir. So as of now, once approved, given by EUA approval by the Bureau of Food and Authority, sir, rest assured that we can meet the minimum standards with efficacy and severity of the different vaccines. Sir.
Layo pa rin ito day. Because na February 23, dili day. February, this February, not dili day. So, okay. So, I think it's very clear. Very clear. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Yu. And so as our City Health Dr. Lorraine Neri, thank you. Maayong hapon. Thank you for the informative special report this afternoon about the vaccine rollout.
Thank you, Doc. Move to lift the suspension of the rules, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, the suspension is lifted.
We'll
Majority
proceed.
Floor Leader, you may now proceed.
Thank you. One is proposed resolution number 2021-41, returning to the Barangay Council of Barangay number 18. This city, it's ordinance number 08-2020, series of 2020. Number two, proposed resolution number 2021-42, returning to the Barangay Council of Barangay Taglimao. This city, it's ordinance number 001, series of 2021. Three is proposed resolution number 2021-43, returning to the Barangay Council of Barangay Tignapuluan. This city, it's ordinance number 001, series of 2021. For proposed resolution number 2021-44, returning to the Barangay Council of Barangay number 38, the city, its ordinance number 01, series of 2019. Covering the respective annual budgets for calendar year 2020 with their respective incomes, with the information that said ordinances are operative in their entirety. Move for the approval of items 1, 2, 3, and 4, Mr. Chairman.
Properly moved by the Majority Floor Leader for omnibus proposal.
Second.
Seconded. Objection? Objection? Hearing none. Resolution number 2021-41. Resolution number 2021-42. Resolution number 2021-43 coming from Barangay Tignapuluan, the Barangay of Councilor Jay R. Pascual. Apa ka? Ano si Agad? And lastly, resolution number 2021-44. Since there is no objection, it is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
Dispense for its finality. Seconded.
5 is proposed resolution number 2021-45, returning to the Barangay Council of Ipunan. This city, its ordinance number 001-20, series of 2020, covering its supplemental budget number 1 for calendar year 2020, with an estimated income of 3,533,116 pesos and 02 centavos, with information that said ordinance is operative in its entirety. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Properly moved by the Majority Floor Leader.
Second.
Seconded. Objection? 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 Resolution number 2021-45 is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
For its finality.
Second.
Seconded.
Number 6 is proposed resolution number 2021-46, endorsing and or imposing no objection to the foreshore lease agreement application of Blue Dragon Leisure Escapes Incorporated, covering a parcel of land located in Barangay Tablon de City with an area of 2,250 square meters, provided that the applicant shall A, submit the pertinent documents of land transfer and subdivision plan to the City Assessor's Office for ownership, updating, and taxation purposes. B, strictly follow the 3 meters legal easement as reflected in the land title and the immediate removal of the fence blocking the aforesaid easement. C, secure clearance from the DPWH in view of the proposed coastal road project in the area per record of the City Planning and Development Office. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Properly moved by the Majority Floor Leader.
Second.
Seconded. Objection? Objection? Okay, Councilor Roger Abaday.
I will just ask the proponent, Mr. Chairman, if this proposed project is not affected with does not affect with the ongoing coastal road project of the DPWH, because if we look at the recommendation of the CLINRO recommendation, page Appendix G, page 62, paragraph 3, step that the Blue Dragon leisure escape is to secure clearance from the DPWH office, since this was a proposed coastal road project of the said office, as per record of the City Planning and Development Office. So I just want to be cleared about this area, Mr. Chairman, my colleague.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor Roger Abaday. Okay, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This is this is the what we call yacht Marina Bay. This is for ito mahilig sa yacht, mga sakay-sakay sa mga baruto, mga sapian, mga pobre, di gawa man eh. This is a 45-meter width na area kami kayo. I don't know ano nga but according to the developers there, developer here is Senator Subiri, the owner here, Senator Subiri. Ang ila dani is outside sila sa highway. Unang highway, muning yuta ni outside sila sa highway. So busa nga mga sila sa for sure lease. Kanang dagat no ilang nang lease nila after the highway kana propose. But anyway, that's the problem. Gini kanay highway siya. House is only no objection kita sa ilang mga plano, but of course they will follow all the requirements construction. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas. I think there is also a report coming from the DENR as a documents filed out below. Okay, Councilor Enrico Salcedo.
Daghang salamat, Mr. Chairman. Ako lang, Mr. Chairman, mga balaka lang ko. Di mo ko masupak, Mr. Chairman. Pero nalang ko'y kabalaka kay naimduman lang ako ni adto panahon ni Barangay Captain Conrad Lim nga naay for sure list dito, nag-apply siya sa PRA, nag-reclaim siya dito, Mr. Chairman. Pag open sa Coastal Road, naproblemahan ang gobyerno, naproblemahan ang DPWH. Kay ang nitabo adto, grabing negosasyon, dugay kay negosasyon. Kapitan lang ganito si Conrad Lim. How much more kung Senator, Mr. Chairman? Ang naadya karon kung depende sa hatag og DPWH clearance. I hope, Mr. Chairman, nga dili lang may tabo ang natabo diya sa lapasan. Morang akong concern, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, but I think for the difference about Conrad Lim's tong sa Coastal Road is sige yung tambakan gani reclamation, but this is not for reclamation for surely. So since it is a yacht club, so I think this could be just a park bay for their yacht, ba? So can be easily be removed or parked to the any other maybe at least a new development in our city. Okay, anyone to add something? There is none. There is a pending approval, properly moved by the majority floor and seconded. Objection? 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 Hearing none? Hearing none. Resolution number 2021-46 is hereby approved.
Dispense second final reading.
Dispense with
Second.
penalty. Seconded.
Number 7 is proposed ordinance number 2021-20 approving the alteration of plan of a portion of Golden Heaven Memorial Park by changing the land use of Block 47 and Road Lot 1 with total affected area of 9,366 square meters containing 678 saleable lots located in Barangay Bulwade City as applied for by the Golden Braya Holdings Incorporated, represented by its cluster head Estela Maris S. Aguilar, subject to the herein conditions and for this purpose amending ordinance number 13781-2019. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Properly moved by the majority floor leader. Any second? Seconded. Objection? 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 Hearing none. Ordinance number 2021-20 is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
For its finality.
Second.
Seconded.
Number 8 is proposed ordinance number 2021-21, approving the development permit of Pontifino Estates Phase 1 subdivision project located in Barangay Carmen City with an area of 61,972 square meters containing 122 lots under PD 957 as applied for by Fino Land Incorporated, represented by its General Manager Antonio M. Flores, subject to the conditions imposed by the City Housing and Urban Development Department, CHUD, and the City Engineer's Office. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Properly moved by the majority floor leader. Any second?
Second.
Seconded. Objection? Objection? None? Ordinance number 2021-21 is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
Dispense for its finality. Seconded.
Second.
9 is proposed ordinance number 2021-22, rezoning the land use from tourism to residential of lot number 2482 and lot number 8 PCS-10-000400 with total area of 11,903 square meters. Hectares covered under TCT numbers T-35033 and T-125774 respectively, previously owned by the heirs of the late Hilda Galerita Labitad, located in Barangay Bayanga, the city, as applied for by Ms. Virgie M. Marie L. Pamunag, Project Development Manager of True Homes Development Incorporated, for his proposed socialized housing project of Forever Homes. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Properly moved by the majority floor. Any second?
Second.
Objection? Objection? None? Ordinance number 2021-22 is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
Dispense for its finality.
Second.
That is proposed ordinance number 2021-23, providing guidelines for the registration and accreditation of Cagayan de Oro City Barangay Health Workers, BHWs, and Barangay Nutrition Scholars, granting them additional benefits and incentives and for other purposes. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Properly moved by the majority floor.
Second.
Seconded. Objection? Objection? Hearing none. Ordinance number 2021-23 is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
Dispense for its finality.
Second.
Seconded.
We have for inclusion as items 11 and 12, Mr. Chairman. The number 12 is the offshoot of my special report as regards extension of the renewal of business permits. Move for their inclusion, Mr.
For
Chairman.
inclusion. 11,
Second.
12.
Second.
Any second? Seconded. Carry on, majority floor.
For number 12, all members as the proponents. 11 is proposed ordinance number 2021-24, prohibiting the entry into the city of Cagayan de Oro for whatever purpose of hogs and all pork products coming from Luzon and other identified African Swine Fever (ASF) affected areas in the country and abroad, providing penalty for violation thereof and for other purposes. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Properly moved by the majority floor leader.
Second.
Seconded. Objection? Objection? Hearing none. Ordinance number 2021-24 is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
Dispense for its finality.
Second.
Seconded.
Number 12 is proposed ordinance number 2021-25, extending the deadline for the filing of business permit renewal application in the city's public markets and terminals from February 26, 2021 to March 31, 2021. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Properly moved by the majority floor leader. Any
Second.
Seconded. Objection? But before we proceed, this could be the last proposal, majority floor. Could be the last proposal.
No more
you-
pending.
No more pending. Mr. Secretary, can you flash it back, the attendance coming from the social media? Okay. Councilor Buboy?
Yes.
Okay, loud and clear. Councilor Jocelyn Rodriguez?
Here. May hapon.
Okay, mayong hapon. Councilor Lordan Swan? Councilor Lordan Swan? I've noticed a lot of the attendance.
Hello?
Okay. Okay. Are you around?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir Chair.
We're just checking you out. Meaning that we already miss you. Mayong hapon ko nimo.
Stalker ako na stalker.
Okay. There is a pending for approval as proposed by the majority floor leader, properly moved and seconded. So, objection, objection, there is none. Ordinance number 2021-25 is hereby approved.
To dispense second final reading.
Dispense for its finality.
Second.
Seconded.